Namaskar and a very good evening to all my revered seniors and today's prestigious panel which is sitting on the dais. And of the dais, I'm feeling a little bit of because I've worked with so many of them and I know they are doins in their own areas. And speaking about exploration specifically, uh, I might make a slip or two, but this is what I would like to present about what we are doing within this domain for the country and for ONGC. So also welcoming all the guests who have become part of this second exploration and production conclave. Over the period of 2 days, I think you are going to hear from some of the best minds in the E&P business. And so I'm just taking a few tentative steps and starting off, the exploration conclave over here, it has also brought together the different key stakeholders with which different the NOCs as well as our regulatories, the DGH has been interacting with. But one thing I can say, in the past 2-3 years, I have seen a real resurgence of the interest in exploration and production of oil. And through that particular enterprise, the knowledge which comes through, and also there is a talk of renewables which is strengthening pace day by day. But the lessons which are learned and the data that we are gathering through the E&P activity for oil and gas, I think that is going to come to a good stead in the future. So what I would like to talk about, I had prepared some note what I would be, but just listening and also looking at the gathering over here, I'll say we in the exploration specifically, or the E&P business, we undergo cycles. And I think this is what we have been witness to over the years. So we have a very well-known cycle of API, that is the acquisition of data, seismic, non-seismic, geochemical, then the processing of the entire data, and then thereon going on to the interpretation. Now, adding on to that interpretation, I also add integration. The integration of different disciplines, the integration of the activities that culminate in the implementation of a particular concept, because after all, that is what we go in search for. And then after the implementation, through drilling, discovery, appraisal, production, we go into the stages of upgradation of our knowledge, of our models. And thereafter, I think I am adding on another aspect, which is the recycling of all this, going into the field of renewables. I have a lot of data which can be used, and I'll be talking about it in different steps, the way we are going within ONGC. So when we talk about environmental concerns, we have the carbon capture, the sequestration. CCUS is going to become a big part of every company's activity. And of course, emanating from that is the enhanced oil recoveries that we are envisaging. Then for the renewables in the field of geothermal energy, then when we look at on the surface in the offshore, we have wind, and then we are looking into solar. So this is the entire process. And talking about what we are doing at ONGC, right now everyone is looking forward to acquisition of more acreage. As has already been mentioned, we have our target set. And one good thing is that ONGC as a company over the years, the legacy data that we have collected through our drilling and through our exploration, that is going to come to a good stead. There was an exercise on the hydrocarbon resource assessment, which was carried under the aegis of DGH and the MOPNG, which culminated in 2017. And it has not only did it give us the likely potential areas for future exploration, but I think it also brought together all the different kind of data sets onto a single platform. And that is where, you know, the talk or the use of that data in the field of AI ML would be, you know, taking it from. So what I can say is, other than the acreages on land, in the offshore, we have heard a lot about the deep and the ultra deep, but I think the areas which I would also find significant are the ultra shallow areas. That is because of the technology and the data acquisition difficulties, but we will be trying to address those areas also. So this becomes another area for ONGC as well as for the entire industries, not only in terms of the data acquisition in the ultra shallow areas, but also in terms of the drilling. We know there are potential, we know there are reservoirs, we know there are petroleum systems which are going to be very prolific in these corridors, because on land there are proven fields, and in the shallow waters also there are proven fields. So in that area we are going, so right now what I would say is, in terms of the induction of technology as far as the acquisition of data is concerned, we are going heavily into the gravity and the magnetic data, especially for difficult terrains. If you look at the sedimentary basins or the tectonic setting of the sedimentary basins, we can broadly divide it into 3 or 4 categories. We have the Himalayan realm, which is the total thrust and fold belt. Then we have the passive margins. Then we have the Proterozoics. Vindhyan is a good success there. And then, of course, the elusive one has been the subbasalt. A number of technology induction over the years have been tried, both in the realm of data acquisition as well as data processing. So the exploration front right now actually is a very, very interesting and a very challenging arena for the companies, both national as well as private operators. We have seen a number of OLP rounds, the acreages that have been taken by various operators, private operators, and from there on, I think what I look forward to, and of course, coming from the Northeast, I'll be a little favorable to the Northeast and my experiences there. Over a period of 2 years, I think the kind of camaraderie that got developed between Oil India Limited and ONGC, I think that is one thing which we need to take forward. So right now, and both of us almost face the same problems in terms of acquisition also. So what came out of a lot of discussions and all was, let us go for non-seismic, methodologies, non-seismic techniques of data acquisition, and let us try to help out each other. I think that is going to work very well. So both the companies, along with the directives from DGH and with their support, we are going, I think, hugely for the acquisition of gravity magnetic data. So it is going to be interesting. There are other socio-political things that are also becoming positive in those areas. So I think I would be looking on land. I think Northeast is going to remain the hub of activities for days to come. Another plus point which I give Northeast is when we talk about the transition, the energy transition, that is one area where we are going to find a lot of gas. As you know, ONGC has been in talk with multinationals. They have been looking into our acreages, our data. So for us, the thrust and the fold belt of the Arakan That has become really interesting. And we have also tried out, amongst other things, something like a airborne geochemical survey. So the results have come in. In addition to that, we have tried out passive seismic techniques. Again, this has lent tremendous support to the velocity modeling for the seismic data, and our perception of how deep the basement could be, or how many number of petroleum systems could there be. Of course, taking analogy from across the border from Bangladesh and Myanmar does help. And coming down, if I just look at the eastern tectonic setup, Andaman is becoming another interesting area. So we have a huge campaign of seismic acquisition as island exploration. Both the NOCs are very much into the exploration aspect. Over there also new data coming in. So it's really for people who have been engaged in the exploration. I think this is the time when they can prove all of their theories and all of their concepts. That is the setting that there is. In the West Coast, of course, Kutch has been a teaser, but we know that we would be going for the Mesozoics in a bigger way. Rajasthan has proven a point. So over there also data acquisition, along with the NSP, which was carried out again by DGH, and it has given us excellent results, and some of the seismic is seen to be believed. When I saw the seismic lines for Ganga, I mean, it's a geologist's dream, or any structural modeler's dream. So these areas are opening up again with the Himalayan realm. The learning which we are getting from the thrust and fold belt of the northeast, I think that is something we are going and we are trying to bring into the other thrust and fold belts of the Himalaya. Technology, again, I would say, has been the underlying and the most emphatic part of the progress in understanding of all these basins, in terms of softwares, in terms of modeling, in terms of trying to do AI/ML with the already acquired data. So the challenges for exploration are immense, but I think the opportunities also are immense. Of course, a huge category, which if you look in terms of the area they encompass, is the category 2 basins. Now, these have been the teasers for exploration. They did give us oil and gas, might be in spurts, a little show here, a little show there. We know there are petroleum systems that are working there, but we have yet to actually, go and pinpoint where all they have accumulated. So another thrust, along with the MOUs and with different institutes, is for the better understanding of these category 2 basins, and a lot of data in terms of the biostratigraphy, in terms of drilling of parametric or stratigraphic wells. I think that is going to bring huge dividends for the E&P sector. I think processing, another domain. We have had OBN data acquisition. We are going into reprocessing, and especially for, again, saying because the acquisition time is taking so much of the entire exploration cycle. So we have started doing reprocessing of the vintage data in a major way with new algorithms coming in. So, and we have got some very, very good results. We have made RC lines in the northeast on a regional scale, done the reprocessing, and then done an iterative geological and geophysical sort of a modeling, and the results are really amazing. Offshore also, along with the acquisition of a lot of data right up to EEZ, that is going to improve our understanding of the crustal composition, as well as where our lost opportunities are, or even to the extent of delineating the Mesozoic basin. So these are the things, and of course going not into production, but the way which is leading into production is the area of the appraisal when we make discoveries. And we have been fortunate to get discoveries in the OLP blocks, but I think I will give all the credit to the teams that have been involved in the delineation of the blocks, in trying to pinpoint the locations. And of course, Srivastav Saab is sitting there. So the leads which he had taken during his time in exploration, they are bringing results to us today. I think there will be, I'll keep my fingers crossed, there will be some couple of new discoveries coming in. And we have sort of, increased the pace of exploration. You do get to hear about the deep and the ultra deep exploration. ONGC in all aspects, be it in the data front, be it in the drilling, or the later on monetization. I think Eastern Offshore is going to bring in good results in the year to come. And of course, in the West, we have been concentrating on the Tapti Daman area, the Mesozoics. So these are all challenges we are trying to bring in. Along with it, of course, a lot of improvement in terms of the technology and the model building. And the basis or the basic of it has been the geological model. So we are on our way in terms of improvement and understanding of the geological model through softwares, through the formation evaluation data that we have, through the model building expertise, I think, which ONGC has acquired over a period of time. So even in the domain of reservoir management leading on to production and optimal recoveries, because that has been a concern for us in terms of reservoir management and pressure maintenance for the fields that we have. One interesting thing I would like to share with all of you in terms of even production is we have fields which have been producing consistently, but still producing for the past 60 years. We had a field like Rudrasagar, which struck oil in 1960, and believe it or not, in 2022, we had an exploratory well which brought us oil. So that makes us realize there is so much more that we still need to know. And everyone has heard about Geleki. So we got a strike last year, and then the wells which are coming up, they are again going to give us good results. In a couple of months, we'll be having good news. So this is the journey of exploration. It is very difficult, but I think it is very inspiring as well. And whatever we have been able to do within ONGC or outside ONGC in terms of exploration, I think it is through the legacy knowledge and the effort and the passion. I would use that word passion with which our predecessors did their pursuit. So again, with different technology experts, we have had the opportunity to discuss our pain areas, our bottlenecks, and we would be going for a lot of collaborative projects, because we know, and this is my belief, and might be I'm right or wrong, I do not know how you look at it, but I look at India as a totally different setup, in the entire global plate tectonics, because this is one plate which traveled like no other plate. I think it is a maximum that it traveled. It has got, geology, if you talk about geology, right from Proterozoic to the recent. And interestingly, I think almost all the stratigraphies have yielded oil and gas. We have Vindhyans, which is a Proterozoic, and then we have KG Basin, which is even into Plio-Pleistocene oil and gas. We have passive margins, we have thrust belts. So India actually is a unique piece in the entire global setup, and we have, I think, every which way kind of sedimentary basin. So a person who goes through the entire data set, looking at all this, would understand it. Of course, emanating from this, because I had been a part of doing some subsurface basin scale models, when we are talking about renewables, about clean energy, other than the emphasis on gas, then again we are looking into the used, the wells which have been discarded or are no longer producing. So, and we also have the data for the geothermal gradient. So, I think that can be brought to a good use in the future. CCUS, we had started a project last year. We are still trying to look for more support from the government, from Niti Aayog, in terms of the fiscal, the policies, and of course the area of the carbon capture, and then putting it in the subsurface for enhanced oil. So I think in a conclave like this, I think it would be more engrossing to listen to the new ideas which are coming up from both the operators through their learning, as well as from the vendors who actually carry out the frontline research, trying to address the requirement of the operators in the E&P field. So with that, again, I would like to wish all the best to the organizers for holding such a meaningful and such a on time gathering, the collection of thoughts that will happen today and tomorrow. And I wish all of you good learning and good deliberations. Thank you so much.